Thank you for joining us today. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, great people of the world. You're welcome again to Morning Spring. Today, the second installment of this program for this week on Western Spring Television. This is where we'll talk about everything important about the public good. Issues of public importance is what we look into every day, every official day of the week, Mondays through Fridays, 7 a.m. is Morning Spring o'clock. Femi Ojo is my name. Thank you for joining us again. We look through the various front pages of different dailies that we have in the nation to get you updated and informed about development and happenings. And of course, we get to converse, talk, dialogue about the state of this nation, the national level, the subnational level, sometimes of global dimension. That's what we do here, speaking to critical stakeholders, starting with you, distinguished Nigerians. And we are live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television NG, and also on our Facebook page at Western Spring Television. You are welcome. Femi Ojo is my name again, and I'm not the only one. Daniel is here. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Femi.
Yeah, we are back here again.
Absolutely. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Always great to be here. Good morning to you, our distinguished viewers. Thank you once again for joining us on Morning Spring. This is Western Spring Television. Daniel Emeka is my name. It's always a pleasure to be here. Also, always a pleasure to know that you are right there on the other side. Because without you, like I always say, we won't be here. So it's all about you. We're here to serve you the best of news and information, critical analysis, insightful conversation, divergent perspectives as far as, matters of importance are concerned. That is what we do right here. Thank you once again for joining us. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Trust you are having a great start to your day. Rest assured that we're here to make sure you get a great start to your day every weekday from Monday to Friday. You do not want to miss any part of this show today because it is fully packed with quite a lot for you. You sincerely do not want to miss any part of it. Once again, Daniel Emeka is my name, and good morning.
Of course, we will be talking about the state of the Nigerian state today, especially the security angle, dimensions to these issues, banditry ravaging the country, kidnapping, and all of those things. That is not abating. Instead, when it appears like we are making some progress, then you boom, then you get to hear that maybe these things are spreading, even as some states that you could say was relatively safe or were relatively safe, like Kwara. Now there are issues of banditry heavy in some part of Kwara State. And how do we tackle it? There are many persons talking about kinetic, not kinetic. Should we go heavy on them? Nasir El-Rufai said, let's carpet bomb everyone. There'll be collateral, but then it's just part of life. And there are some that say, okay, let's talk with them. Let's de-radicalize them. If they bring their hands up in the air to say, oh, forgive us, let's forgive them. And there are some that say, let's negotiate with them. One of them, proponent of that, is Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, who has been doing that for years, to say, listen to these people. They have a genuine grievances against the state. Hear them, and maybe you can have conversation with them, plead with them to drop the guns. And some will say, we have tried it before. Negotiation, that it was done, I think, in Katsina State during Masari time, below Masari as governor, even took pictures with them, the Kalashnikov wielding bandits. And later I said that was one of the biggest mistakes of his life that he made, because it's a ruse. It will never work. Sheikh Ahmad Gumi voice was so loud under Muhammadu Buhari, about negotiating with bandits and all of those things. And later, okay, for some time it has been quiet, but recently he spoke up, even on the social media space, to say, don't make them angry. There is a negotiation going on. There is a peace deal in some parts of the country. Let it stay that way. So Nigerians will say, here we go again.
But quite a lot of Nigerians will disagree with someone like Sheikh Gumi.
Right.
Because what right does he have to be warning a sovereign state not to provoke bandits? Why should we be having this discussion in the first place? This same Sheikh Gumi, who was denied access to Saudi Arabia, he was deported. Okay? because of their security issues, you know, against him. Now he's saying Nigeria should not provoke bandits. What are we talking about? We shouldn't be having this conversation. If Saudi Arabia government should have, you know, facts against him, not to allow him to perform Hajj in their country, and he's here in Nigeria telling a sovereign state not to provoke bandits. Yeah. So Nigeria should keep paying bandits because he said there's a deal. What kind of deal is that? Well, okay, you talk about collateral damage. When you deal with terrorists, fine. Yeah, sometimes you can't just. These people are not reasonable. You can't negotiate with them. Otherwise, they will keep preying on the people. There are parts of Nigeria where people cannot go to their farms unless they pay bandits. Correct. And you are telling Nigeria to continue doing that, not to provoke them. So we should keep appeasing them as if we are appeasing the gods, keep paying bandits. No, quite a lot of Nigerians will disagree with someone in the person of Sheikh Gumi because he doesn't, some will say he doesn't really have the moral right to say so. That is what some will say. Because if you're not totally, completely, you know, free of allegations, you know, of association with, you know, these groups, you shouldn't be speaking like this. Because again, if we keep, how long, the question now for me is, how long should we keep, you know, dealing with bandits?
He talked about a peace deal that was struck between terrorists and residents of Askari local government area. Now, just like you said, not just how long alone, how many of these bandit groups can we make a peace deal with? Because it's not like they have a national association that you talk with their leaders to say, talk to your guys, we have a peace deal. We have different cells, many of them known, some of them unknown. Anybody can just pick up guns in Nigeria and just put up some damn, then kidnapping people. So if resident, and you know, maybe we have time in the course of the program to link into this because there are some who say it's a failure of the state for residents of a particular local government to be having a peace deal with bandits, non-state actors to say, we will do this, you two leave us alone. It's obviously a failure. Not like it's a failure of the state. Like you said, it's a failure of the state.
Absolutely.
If they don't trust the state, then they are pitching their tent with the people terrorizing them just to keep them safe.
And now they are beginning to suffer the Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Not like they want it. Stockholm syndrome is when you just ban it. This one's is like they don't have a choice.
Exactly.
They want to be alive.
Bandits, exactly. So to them, they feel, oh, the devil they know is even better. So they are dealing with the bandits. They are paying them. These deals are not just deals on paper. They are paying the bandits.
It's not just obeisance.
Exactly.
Something must give.
Massive extortion is going on. Massive extortion. Now, different groups will...
That's in Faskari local government. What happened to other local government? What happened to bandits in Sokoto? Will residents of Niger State do that? Will Kebbi State do that? So why do we have a government?
That's the point. That's the point. So talking about not provoking bandits, we shouldn't be having that conversation. It doesn't make any logical sense.
And some will say, Sheikh Gumi, you again. What exactly does he know that we don't know? And this is a man that has gotten cameramen, media, to go into the bush and speak to some of these guys before. So when some of these people say, oh, those bandits live in difficult terrains, is a place that you can't get to. Sheikh Gumi has done it severally, and there are videos to show. He doesn't even hide it. He even goes with security men. He goes with media to say this is what they are saying.
He definitely has insider information. Well, that's it. So, and they kind of respect him because for him to be able to, you know, go into those places without being harmed.
He has gone severally. There are videos all about the we'll look in the course of the program. So what's the state doing about this? So we speak to, you know, people or someone who know about this, especially the issue of intelligence, the issue of security in Nigeria, because we are talking about development. President Tinubu has been, you know, going out around the world to say, guys, please come and invest at home. And if I to be an investor, and I'm seeing these kind of headlines, in the nation that you are going to, residents of those countries are making this deal with bandits, and you are telling me to bring my money. Okay.
Well, they are saying the economy is getting better simply because headline inflation is dropping, according to National Bureau of Statistics, you know, dropping from 21.88 to 20.12. That's a percentage, you know, dropping of 1.76%. So headline inflation dropped, but again, the question is: are Nigerians feeling it? Are we really feeling it? That's a question, because if you are saying, if the newspaper headlines are saying that headline inflation has been dropping for like 5 consecutive times now, by how much? And are Nigerians really feeling the impact? Exactly.
The impact. Right. We'll all talk about and we'll understand. Mr. President will be back today to take care of the state of the Nigerian state.
No, some are even saying it's back already. Okay. I was thinking it's back already.
I was thinking they say it's going to be back today, and he has had to cut his vacation. Baba cut short his vacation to attend to you people. How gracious. President Chagaba. Take a quick break. We'll make a return. Stay with us. All right, we'll start with the Daily Times to look through it, especially the front page for what's there. Tinubu hot vacation to stabilize security, review economic policies. Again, Tinubu hot vacation, as they say it on social media, vacation. Tinubu hot vacation to stabilize security, review economic policies. That's coming from the presidency. All right, and below that you have the picture of Mr. Vice President Kashim Shettima welcoming the regional president for Central and Eastern Europe, Middle East and Africa, Mr. Tariq Mohammed, who led a delegate to the presidential villa yesterday. Right below that, a reviving railways key to Nigeria's role as Africa's logistics hub. Shettima, reviving railways key to Nigeria's role as Africa's logistics hub. Some will say the same railway that has been derailing, present. Then there are many instances to why maybe that is happening. Then that's from the Shettima. That's from Mr. Shettima, rather. Now, court declines motion seeking Nnamdi Kanu transfer to National Hospital. Court declines a motion seeking Nnamdi Kanu's transfer to National Hospital. If you ask me, many Nigerians, many persons believe this is a case. This is Nnamdi Kanu's case, a case that has dragged far too long.
Absolutely.
If you want to make a judgment, make a judgment. This is, some would say this is just punishing the guy. Actually, let the court do the needful. All right.
The case is quite complicated.
It's complicated, and for years, charges have been reviewed against him multiple times, from DSS to Correctional Service. I think it's with the DSS right now. And the man is talking about his health and,
Yeah, he says he wants to be moved away from the DSS. He doesn't want to stay with the DSS.
I'm not sure he has that choice. Maybe if his lawyers can prove that case, though. Now, submit your sermon for approval. Niger governor tells clerics. All right, we are back here. Submit your sermon for approval. Niger governor tells clerics. And that's Governor Bagodi saying, even preachers will need to be licensed in that state. Come and be licensed. And whenever you want to preach, let us see what you want to preach about, because he has talked about extremism and people abusing one another and abusing the government as well. I wonder what that means. So you can't speak against the government. Where is that line if the government is not really doing well? But that's in Niger State. And infrastructural development, embrace Tinubu with both hands, Umai tells Southeast. Infrastructural development, embrace Tinubu with both hands, Umai tells us Southeast. And here, top strip, federal government's reform without human face triggers pervasive hunger and poverty. Federal government's reforms without human face triggers pervasive hunger and poverty. That's coming from former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Nigeria's, although there is, response to that from the presidency as well. Now, Nigeria's inflation drops for 5th consecutive time. MBAs, hooray! Nigeria's inflation drops for 5th consecutive time. That's from the Bureau of Statistics. That'll be all from the Daily Times for today.
From the Daily Times, we move to the front page of the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper this morning, food price crash. Farmers fault FG's order as agro imports hit 2.2 trillion naira. Food price crash. Farmers fault federal government's order as agro imports hit 2.2 trillion naira. Below that, we have a rider. Order won't work. FG must subsidize transport. Agri sectors, that's coming from AFAN and millers. And beside that, we have another one. Federal government to distribute 2,000 tractors to farmers. Federal government to distribute 2,000 tractors to farmers. You can read up that story on page 24 of the Punch newspaper, talking about food price crash. I have not seen it, okay? As a Nigerian, I have not witnessed it, so perhaps they should let us know where food prices have crashed, so we can, feel ourselves. We can whet our appetites right there. Talking about prices of food. Of course, the National Bureau of Statistics came out to say that inflation has dropped again for the 5th consecutive time. This time around from 21.88 to 20.12. Okay, that's a decline of 1.76 percentage points. And the MBS is, the federal government, the presidency is celebrating. It's saying, it's a, sign of an indication that the economy is doing better. But Nigerians are asking again, how has it affected us? Okay, let us see the metrics. If food prices have crashed, let us feel it at the markets. That's exactly what Nigerians are saying. Away from the banner red line, still on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. SANU, NASU issue strike notice over unpaid allowances. Senior Staff Association of Universities, Non-Academic Staff Association of Universities issue strike notice over unpaid allowances. You'll find that story on page 21. FX inflows, reserves boost Naira to 1,497 per dollar. FX inflows, reserves boost Naira to 1,497 per dollar. You'll find a story on page 23. Talking about Nigeria's foreign reserves, the presidency has claimed that our foreign reserves has risen close to $42 billion. So the presidency is celebrating that as well. Away from that, we have another story. Tinubu, Fubara, and foreign trips. IBAS set for handover. Tinubu, Fubara, and foreign trips. IBAS set for handover. You find a story on page 2. Presidency fires back as Atiku warns of revolution. Presidency fires back as Atiku warns of revolution. You find that story on page 21. Now, the presidency, they're kind of having a back and forth with Atiku Abubakar. Now, that's former vice president of Nigeria, who came out to say that Nigerians are hungry, that hunger is ravaging Nigeria. Atiku Abubakar actually compared Nigeria to France just before the revolution in 1789 and the revolution in Russia in 1917. So saying that our situation right now is close to that of those countries just before the revolutions, and the presidency would have none of it. They are saying that's not true. But again, Nigerians should decide. Are Nigerians really hungry? That's a question. Quite a big one right there. The presidency is saying no, Atiku is wrong. Atiku shouldn't be comparing Nigeria to pre-revolution France and Russia, making it look as if it's inciting Nigerians towards a revolution. But that's what that story is talking about right there. Away from that, it's on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Moving towards the bottom strip now. Southeast behind as Southwest maintains voter pre-registration lead. Southeast behind as Southwest maintains voter pre-registration lead. You find a story on page 7. Nepal protests. 2 Nigerian inmates rearrested after jailbreak. Nepal protests. 2 Nigerian inmates arrested after jailbreak. You find a story on pages 4 and 5 talking about the unrest, the protests in Nepal. We understand 2 Nigerians have been arrested after a jailbreak. The people are protesting against bad governance. I guess perhaps they want a revolution in the country. The Prime Minister tendered resignation, but let's see. Let's just hope peace is restored in Nepal. Away from that, Dangote vows refinery won't fall to oil mafia. Dangote vows refinery won't fall to oil mafia. You might want to find out who this oil mafia, who they are. Actually, you might want to read up that story on page 23. And finally, from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, FG suspends controversial 4% import duty levy. Federal government suspends controversial 4% import duty levy. You'll find that story on page 23. free. And that'll be all from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, from the Punch newspaper, let's see what the Daily Trust has for us on this front page. Screaming amidst peace deal in Katsina. Amid peace deal in Katsina, bandits abduct 55 in Zamfara. Amidst the peace deal in Katsina, bandits abduct 55 in Zamfara. And of course, in that picture, you can see short images taken from that peace deal of armed men, some of them armed to the teeth. You can see the guy in blue with rounds of magazines. All right. And that's where the peace deal was held in Faskari local government in Katsina State. And while that was going on, bandits were abducting scores of people in Zamfara State. 55, it has been put. How long is too long? How far is too far? There is war against insecurity. Now, federal FCT doctor strike, services grounded in hospital. FCT doctor strike, services grounded in hospitals. And Tinubu cuts short vacation and returns to Nigeria today. And 2027, UN wants parties against hate speech. UN wants parties against hate speech. And Kano Maradi rail project at 60% completion. President Kano Maradi, I didn't still, they're still on this Maradi matter. Maradi is in Niger, you know, that was something.
The rail project, I thought this was completed a long time ago.
Well, I think maybe it's Kano Maradi rail project at 60% completion. Well, that's what the president is saying. Maybe they are just letting people know the state of that rail project. Maybe it was completed or not. And Top Street Mafia is out to kill my refinery Dangote. Mafia is out to kill my refinery Dangote. Who are they? You mafians. Why do you want to kill Dangote's refinery? Now, 3 patients die at AKTH as Ketco cuts power over debt. Again, listen to these. 3 patients die at AKTH as Ketco cuts power over debt. These are things that, you know, that can be avoidable debts, just because the hospital, teaching hospital is OE, the distribution company, cut their power, and of course it has resulted in 3 patients dying, according to this report. So who is to be held responsible now? The hospital, the management,
it's quite complicated.
The distribution company, who wants to make a business, or you blame innocent Nigerians who wants to be taken care of,
or the NEPA, the PHCN officials.
That's what I'm saying. The distribution company,
exactly, who cuts the power supply. They'll say they are just doing their jobs. That's what they'll say. But again, sometimes when we do our jobs, perhaps we need to apply some common sense. It's quite complicated anyway, because someone actually gave that order.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You remember, it happened in the US usage for months, almost 10 months. They were not having light. Yet, patients were going there. Even the patients were going with chargeable torchlight. Patients were offering to bring their own generator to power wards.
Then how are the emergency units working?
Medical students were being trained in darkness. 10 months.
Oh.
That's the Nigeria that you have. Although they said it has been sorted, but we wait for how long? That's a foremost grade AA teaching hospital. University College Hospital in Ibadan.
Wow, where is
That's the same hospital that we learned some royal families used to come from Saudi Arabia to access care in the past.
In those days. Well, quite unfortunate. You know, in those days when they started medicine in you are in University of Ibadan, you know, at 400 level, automatically you are sent to the UK to complete your medical training. So the exchange was there. The standard was quality, very high. Yeah. Exactly. The standard was
here where patients dying because electricity is being cut off from the teaching hospital. Who pays now? Any other person can pay, but those lives, they are gone. You talked about emergency services. How can you maintain it? Exactly. How about the neonatal wards, the children in incubators? These are some of the things that you don't get to hear about. Let's even talk about elders. Fine, every life is precious. But those innocent bonds.
This only happens in places like Gaza. I mean, in war zones.
Situations. Here we are, and this is the reality here, and this is just the reality. That will be all from the Daily Trust.
From the Daily Trust, we move to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, 2027, PDP demands legal backing for electronic transmission of results. PDP demands legal backing for electronic transmission of results. With some riders, says party not dead, declares confidence in Fubara as emergency rule winds down in Rivers. Dismisses relevance of article. Others, says reconciliation disciplinary measures in progress. You might want to read up all that story on page 15 of the Nigerian Tribune. The People's Democratic Party demanding legal backing for electronic transmission of results. We talked about that here on this platform when we took a look at our electoral laws and some of the flaws right there. And of course, this is one of them. Because Section 60 and Section 64 of the Nigerian Electoral Act 2022 didn't quite give clear instructions as to transmitting results directly or electronically, and there was no legal backing for it. Now the PDP is demanding for legal backing to ensure and insist that results are transmitted electronically. You find out that story on page 15 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Away from that, on the top strip of the Nigerian Tribune, Guinness Book of World Records confirms Hilda Bassi's largest serving of Nigerian, that should be Nigerian jollof.
Yes.
Exactly, that should be Nigerian jollof, right? I saw that story yesterday. Guinness Book of Records confirms Hilda Bassi's largest serving of Nigerian jollof rice. Well, some Nigerians will say, what exactly is she trying to achieve? I mean, jollof
she
rice.
Has achieved it already.
Exactly.
Yeah, anything that is worth breaking is okay.
Absolutely.
People do the most dangerous, the most unthinkable thing in as much is a record. Now, she has a 2 world record under her belt right now because that's her line.
Exactly.
She's a chef and she's doing it on the global stage. Everybody, there's been this conversation about some people trying to play it down to say some are going to the moon, some are going to space, some are developing vaccines, and what Nigerians or Hilda Bassi wants to do is food. And some are saying, excuse you, she has done food.
Yeah, she has carved a niche for herself.
Go to the space, go to the moon. Don't play down people's achievements just because you feel other people are doing whatever you think is better.
All right, moving on to other stories on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Nigeria's inflation rate dropped to 20.12% in August. Nigeria's inflation rate dropped to 20.12% in August. That's coming from NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics. Away from that, move to reduce FG stakes in joint oil ventures capable of undermining Nigeria's sovereignty. Article 1. So move to reduce FG's stakes in joint oil ventures capable of undermining Nigeria's sovereignty. Article 1. So you find that on page 6. Oyo launches Sustainable Social Protection Initiative. You find that on page 17. I can't facilitate Natasha's resumption. Coming from CNA, you find a story on page 3. It says Senate courts must authorize a return. And on the health section, daily walking can prevent back pain risk by 23%. Coming from study, you find a story on page 3. So you might just want to start walking daily. Some experts have said for at least 30 minutes of walking would do you quite a lot of good. Our refinery ended Nigeria's 50-year fuel queue crisis. Coming from Dangote, our refinery ended Nigeria's 50-year fuel queue crisis. Dangote. Below it, we have some writers. We are creating jobs, not displacing anyone. Industrialization, not importation, will grow Africa's economy. Coming from Dangote, you find a story on page 14. And that'll be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. That also brings us to a conclusion of the newspaper review segment on the show this morning. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we dive into critical matters of the day. Join us again.